Entire Naga villages were burned down after Indians sent its military in 1953 to hunt down Nagas, kill Nagas, rape Indian Naga women, children, for saying that Nagas are not Indians. Nobody was allowed to visit Nagaland, not even the Indian people, journalists, writers, scholars, even diplomats from countries from the Indian embassies in Calcutta and Delhi. They were not allowed to visit Nagaland. Thousands and thousands of Indian army that came to Nagaland to destroy our people and our village. Thank you, Nam Tamilar Kachi, for inviting us Nagas to this very auspicious and memorable and respectable 75th anniversary, martyrdom anniversary of Thiru Sankaralingana on this 13 October 2021. I stand before you not only as a Naga man from Nagaland state of India, but I stand before you as a Nagas who are divided into different parts of India, including in Manipur, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, and in Burma up to the Chingwin River. Nagas live in an area of 120,000 square kilometers. Nagaland state in India is only 16,000 square kilometers. So I represent Nagas who have been badly divided, and our humanity has been destroyed by the then British and the new independent India. And I stand before you in spirit and in moral as a Tamil today with you. I also take this opportunity to extend my brotherhood, my solidarity with my brothers from Punjab, from Tripura, including all the struggling people in India across this subcontinent who have struggled all their life, including the Dalits, different people who have been suffering their entire life at the hands of few privileged class in this so-called world's greatest or biggest democracy. It is no more a greatest democracy, it is just the biggest population democratic country. So sad. It was during this time when our leader, Sankaralingana, was fasting in 1956 that Nagas were also, the entire Naga villages were being burned down, hunted down like animals. We lived in the jungles from 1956 to 1959 and early 1960s. Many of our brothers and sisters were born in the jungles like animals, like tigers, like elephants, like whatever, deers, monkeys, call any name. Entire Naga villages were burned down after Indians sent its military in 1953 to hunt down Nagas, kill Nagas, rape Indian Naga women, children, for saying that Nagas are not Indians. And because Nagas refused to join the Indian Union in 1950 when Indian Constitution was drafted, and Nagas completely boycotted the first Indian elections in 1952. And because of that, we were destroyed. And the then Prime Minister of India, very sadly, of course, is gone. With all due respect, the first greatest Indian Prime Minister, Nehru, he shouted in the Indian Parliament, saying that I would, even if all the rivers in India runs red with blood, I will not allow Nagas to be independent. I will station one Indian soldier for every tree in Nagaland and crush the Nagas within 1 week. With that promise, he sent Indian Army in 1953 and started destroying, after killing whatever Nagas they could find, from 1956, when our elder and brother was fasting in Tamil Nadu. Every Naga villages was uprooted, burned to ashes. So for more than 25 years, ever since in the early 50s, Nagaland was blacked out. When I say blacked out, you may understand better if I say what happened in Jammu and Kashmir in 2019, 2 years ago. No internet, no visitor, nothing. Nagaland or the world did not have internet at the time. But Nagaland, nobody was allowed to visit Nagaland. Not even Indian people, journalists, writers, scholars, even diplomats from countries from the Indian embassies in Calcutta and Delhi. They were not allowed to visit Nagaland. Even for any Indian person to come to Nagaland, they need a special permit to enter Nagaland. So for 25 years or more, Nagaland was completely blacked out. Indian Army tried to just commit genocide, annihilate Nagas from the face of the earth. Not only the Naga people, but the entire villages, the entire civilization. But we survived because of the grace of God, because we were born into this world with a purpose. We survived. All this happened because even before India became independent, Nagas have made ourselves very clear that even to the Britishers, to leave us alone as our ancestors found us. Nagas were called savages, Nagas were called headhunters, wild animals, whatever. Yes, Nagas were wild, uneducated, uncivilized, but we lived a very proud and free people till Britishers came and Indian military came and invaded our land. From there, our humanity and our dignity was destroyed. And in order to restore that dignity and our humanity on the face of this earth, we took up arms resistance. Who are Nagas? Just a few, 2 million, hardly 2 million population at that time, to take arms against mighty Indian army. But the entire Indian army, thousands and thousands of Indian army that came to Nagaland to destroy our people and our village, could not wipe us out from the face of this earth, because our story was correct. And God knows that we are a distinct people. And the people themselves knows we cannot become another person. We cannot become Indians when we're not Indians. So we survive till today. And in that situation, I want to particularly thank today P.V. Narasimha Rao, who was the Indian Prime Minister, for searching Nagas in 1995, because our leaders were fighting back home. Our leaders are telling our story to the rest of the world, to the United Nations, to Europe, to America, wherever, to tell our stories, sharing our sufferings. Narasimha Rao requested to meet our people. So when he was Prime Minister of India in 1995, he went to Paris in France and he met our leaders. And he requested our leaders to sign ceasefire that Nagaland and India must negotiate at the highest level, at the Prime Minister level, and in a third country. Not in India, not in Nagaland, but we will talk outside the Indian. That was his request. And Nagas appreciated, reciprocated, and said, if India is really sincere to bring peace between us, we will say okay. But his prime ministership tenure was over. But as soon as his tenure was over, S.D. David Gowda came as a prime minister. He followed what Prime Minister Narasimha Rao has done, and he went and met our leaders again in Paris, in France, and also in Zurich, in Switzerland, 2 times. After these 2 prime ministers requested our leaders to come and sign ceasefire, It was during Ike Gujral's time that the ceasefire was signed in 1997. So Nagas, today we're in the 24th year of political negotiation, but we have our eternal gratefulness to Narasimha Rao and S.D. Devigoda, who accidentally, by a twist of history, came from the southern part of the Indian continent. And I take this great opportunity to say thank you to all of you on their behalf who represented you. Narasimha Rao is no more today with us, but S.D. Devigoda is still alive. He's with us. And I hope God will give him better health, good health, long life, to search for peace, not only for Naga people, but also for Tamilians, for Punjab, for our friends in Tripura, in Northeast, different parts of India. And we hope that someday we will all live a more dignified life. During this course of the last 24 years of peace negotiation, during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time, India made a breakthrough with the Nagas, in a sense that Nagas, India have never agreed to recognize Nagas as a separate people, as a distinct people. But in 2002, on 11 July 2002, in Amsterdam, the government of India, in writing, recognized the unique history and situation of Nagas, to say that yes, Nagas are not Indians, but let us live in peace. So Nagas says, okay, if you really want peace, and if you mean what you say, and understand the situation of the Nagas, then Nagas will understand India even 10 times more than what you are understanding the Nagas. And that was the word of our leader who is in the negotiation. So 2002, in 50 years' time, Government of India for the first time acknowledged and recognized the unique history and situation of the Nagas, to say that yes, Nagas are not Indians. And that Nagas and Indians are two entities. So this same spirit was again signed, what many of you must have heard, in 2015, 3rd August, when the framework agreement was signed, that Government of India continue to recognize the unique history and situation of the Nagas, that India and Nagas, as two entities, must live in peaceful coexistence through a new relationship. These were some of the main key components of the framework agreement. We have had several interlocutors on behalf of the Government of India for the last 24 years. Already 5 interlocutors have gone. Today, a new interlocutor has been appointed in the person of Mr. A.K. Misra, because the last interlocutor tried to deviate the position of the Government of India and to go back on the words given by the Government of India, that it recognized the unique history of the Nagas, that the Nagas are different people. All the words that was given in writing, committed by all the previous Prime Minister. So Nagas refused to talk with this interlocutor anymore. And from 2002 January till today, there was no talk. But because talk has to be resumed, Government of India appointed a new interlocutor, and so the talks have started again since last month in September. What will happen, we do not know. But in the present day, now and in the present day, for the last 2-3 weeks, for the last many days, Naga leaders, including politicians, state politicians, chief ministers, opposition leaders, political party leaders, all are now camping in Delhi, maybe in 100 people more, different Naga leaders, different Naga nationalist movement leaders, all factions are being brought to Delhi. We don't know what kind of peace deal Government of India is attempting. But if it is not an honorable settlement, Nagas can never be cowed down to accept something which we have never accepted all our life and fought all our life, and gave our best all our life. After 24 years, more than 20 years of negotiation, government of India representative started to say that Nagas can have any level of autonomy, but must live under the Indian constitution. They cannot have their flag. This is something unacceptable. In the past, when Indira Gandhi had the first ceasefire with the Naga people in 1964 to 1968, she assured the Naga delegation, take anything under the sun, but not sovereignty. Naga said, we will not take anything under the sun or the moon or the stars, but Nagas will retain our sovereignty, our independence. And so there was no meeting point, and the first ceasefire was broken, and then all this dark history was repeated. Again, in this present situation, second ceasefire, government started with a very high tone that the talks will be without any condition, that it will be at the level of the Prime Minister, talks will be held in a foreign country, in a third country, and they went to the extent of saying that Nagas are not Indians and recognize the unique history of the Naga people. And they even said that Nagas and Indians are two entities and must live in peaceful coexistence. And now they want to say that you must accept any agreement under the Indian constitution and you cannot have your flag. Without our flag, without our constitution, which has governed us and our ancestors all our life, in all our history, since mankind has come to this earth, how are we going to revert back our identity and our nationhood? So we pray and we hope, even as the government of India negotiates with Naga leaders in Delhi now, that government of India will be sincere and will demonstrate its commitment to its own words. Those words were not put in the mouth of the Indian government by the Nagas, but their own prime minister, their own negotiators, not only said, but they wrote in an agreement that Nagas are a distinct people. If they can commit themselves and demonstrate their commitment through any peace deal, then we must say, God bless all of them. But if they want to go back on the word, then it's going to be very unfortunate. Nagas may be wiped out from the face of the earth, but our dignity and our nationhood and our identity will never be wiped out. So for the sake of peace, not only for Nagas and Northeast region or other parts, in struggling parts of different parts of the Indian subcontinent, we hope for the sake of peace, and I repeat, for the sake of peace, India will be sincere and demonstrate its commitment in letter and in spirit. And I want to say that I have also seen with my own eyes what happened in Sri Lanka against the Tamilians. I have visited Trincomalee. I have seen what has happened. I have heard and read about what happened in the Golden Temple in Punjab through Operation Blue Star. Nagas also have undergone this similar operation called Operation Bluebird. Yours is a blue star, ours is a bluebird. But this bluebird didn't sing a harmonious song. It brought pains and sufferings. But we will all be united in our effort, and God will give us the strength to resist these all evil forces. Thank you.
எதிரி கதற திசையிலும் விடியல் பிறக்கவே இனி அமிழ்த தமிழும் ஆட்சி ஏறி சரிதம் படைக்கவே